Right, I started the recording, so we can wait a couple minutes here and see if we get more people and then get started.
Judy, we're up to 30 people. You draw quite a crowd.
I don't think anybody has much to do on Saturday morning anymore. It's nice to see everyone, at least once every couple of weeks.
That's one reason we do this, just so people can see people.
I did my yard work this morning before it got hot.
I did my sister's dog's 4 miles this morning before up Soledad before it got hot. It is going to be hot here, and probably the first day that it's actually hot in La Jolla. It's been cold all week. We haven't seen the sun.
Yeah, I think the marine layer is supposed to pull out, so you should get some today.
Yep, we already have it. Nice and warm.
Good.
I think everyone from East County is already on La Jolla Shores Beach. It's going to be shoulder to shoulder there in the water and on the beach.
It's 96 in Campo, and we're not leaving the house.
This stuff, I actually go back to the early 90s, some pioneering work, using CUC developed out of Cornell University by a grant from NASA, which is the father of all this. Started out small stuff with black and white, but got stuff goes back, gig volleying and back that far. This is also sort of my path that led me into seeing some of the work with contact with life. It's sort of how this all started.
All right, so 10:03, we have 33 people. Bruce, what do you have for the group this morning?
I don't know. Let's see if my audio is working okay.
Yes, it is.
All right, very good. Thank you. Well, you know, I think, in fact, I'm very concerned that my thermometer outside is broken. We managed to make it down to, I think, 65 degrees last night overnight. I managed to get the house down to like 69, which was a miracle. And this morning when it crossed over and hit 70, it's like, okay, crossing that boundary, close the windows, turn off the fans that are blowing the breeze through the house. I'm staring at this from across the room. I've got 72 degrees outside with 76% humidity right now. And indoors, it's 76 degrees with 65% humidity. So I think I'm going to go back to opening the windows and turning the fans back on. I'm hoping everybody's staying cool. If you've got air conditioning, enjoy the air conditioning. The updates as far as ARES goes in relationship to the county, a couple of things are happening. One of them is that the MOC is moving as we expected it to and as was planned. They are temporarily relocating, possibly for a year to 2 years. So we're going to need to come up with additional information from them, which I'm working on, as far as getting a tour of the new digs once they get settled, evaluation on where we will be able to operate. We were actually invited to go out and do that. We have not done that assessment yet. They're not quite settled yet. As far as any drills go for the near future for the hospitals, to the best of my knowledge, state of California has waived off the requirement for the mandatory drills, so there will not be anything in fall. As you might imagine, I think they've got their hands full, as do we, for different reasons. To that end, what I'm going to suggest is that with the understanding that we will not have a November drill, we're probably going to plan something ourselves and execute on that in that same time frame. Future events, there's not really anything that's happening that I know of. The 220 and up ARRL contest is theoretically underway. That's kind of an interesting venture. If you've got 220 year or UHF equipment, you might find some activity there. I'm not really sure how widely attended that is. It's become more of a specialty event with the rule change that happened a couple of years ago. Not a lot of regular folks participate in that currently that I'm aware of. I don't know of anything other than the September ARRL event, which we'll probably do some planning for, probably try to do a rally around. And again, purpose on that one is that there's going to be a lot more activity on the VHF and up bands, and good likelihood that we can go out and do some interoperability testing and finding out where our radios work and under what conditions, especially up to the north and to the other sections that are near and around us. You know, I love it when I get Craig to go out and tell me that I can be worked better simplex than I can through the 715 machine up on Laguna, and vice versa probably. I can hear Craig perfectly well here in Kearney Mesa. Same thing with Fallbrook. I can work folks in Fallbrook. I can work quite a few people in and around the area. It's a good exercise. I really encourage everybody to go out and try it, do it, put some time and effort into it, see what your station can do under nominal operating conditions and when there are no repeaters out there. Don't think I've got anything else. Everybody's pretty much apprised on the COVID scenario, and maybe also at the same time, like many of us, misapprised to some degree on the COVID issues that are going on. A lot of misinformation out there on social media. It's kind of awkward, and we don't enjoy that, but I'm hoping everybody can use their own intelligent filters to go out and figure out what is more reality as opposed to non, and try to keep a stable head on our shoulders and all of us remain as calm as we can be under the circumstances. I don't really have anything else. I'm sorry I was not able to attend the last meeting. I ended up having a interesting challenge that was work related. We had some maintenance that went long into the weekend. We had some systems that didn't behave quite as well as they should have, doing some upgrades. And it was an unfortunate event where I was pretty much on keyboard with about 4 different machines, trying to finish up some updates, working with vendor support on 2 different phone calls. And there was enough matrixing and multiplexing going on that there was not a chance I could go out and squeeze the regular meeting in there as well, or the optional meeting in there as well. I'll flip it back to you, Dave. I don't really have anything else, and I'll be listening for the rest of the event.
All right, the only other thing, September's National Preparedness Month. So we, besides the ARES meeting and other things going on, it's the shakeout as well on the 15th. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Rob, do you have anything else?
Yeah, it's Saturday is the virtual Ham Fest, the QSO Today Ham Expo. I know a lot of people are going to be participating in that. Next Saturday would be our normal monthly general meeting for ARES, and we're going to have to take a look at do we want to have it? Do we want to keep it short to see if it might interfere with any of the Ham Fest talks that are going on? So we'll discuss that on the board. And then get some word out to the general membership. And then, as mentioned, we've got the community parks in the air for San Diego and Imperial County happening on August 15th. The general concept there is it's a short rollout exercise. Get out to a community park. All members check in with your ECs for the city that you live in. If you don't have an EC, talk to any EC, check in with them. And then the ECs will have some traffic flowing back and forth between each other and leadership, and we'll do some WinLink traffic, and it'll probably be a 60 to 90 minute drill, and then we'll be done for that on the 15th. That's all for me. Thanks.
All right. Judy, are you all ready to go?
I am indeed.
All right. You
Let me
are
give
on.
an introduction before I share my screen. So I thought it might be useful to discuss for those who haven't seen it, and for those who have. Every time I do this, I find some other new function that I didn't actually realize, or some new issue. And it's the public service grid map system that has been instituted about 2 years ago. And as mostly hospital people with ARES, I think in passing messages, you may well get some grid information about locations that you have to pass on. It's good to know. And practically everybody that I see here belongs to something else like RACES or ACS or some other organization where the grid map system is important, because it is now the mapping system. So I'm going to share my screen. It says host disabled attendee screen sharing. So I guess Dave has to give me permission. You see where that is, Dave? You're on mute.
I'm not sure where I do that here.
Host disabled attendee screen sharing.
If you click the little arrow next to share screen, Dave, then there's an option to allow other attendees to share.
Yes, there it is.
There we go.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull it up as a PowerPoint. There it is. Okay, so what we're going to discuss is the regional public safety map grid system. And hopefully everyone had a chance to download the computer version of that. If not, you'll get to see a fair amount with this, and then you can do that. So I want to thank, first of all, Jeff Eber from the Sheriff's Department. He's one of the communication managers, and also oversees public safety relationships, and is the ACS lead. So what is the purpose and use of this new grid mapping system? Well, for all of you who have used Thomas Brothers, Thomas Brothers is no longer in print. And it was expensive, and it was a paper copy. So it's being phased out, and it has been phased out with law enforcement and fire quite a while now. For our San Diego animal response team, we just converted this year to the grid system, although everybody still has a copy of Thomas Brothers, hard to get rid of that. And what it provides is a region-wide common map grid for communicating a geographical area. So if somebody tells you they're in grid 2317, you automatically know where to start looking. Or if you're out in the field and you say, I'm in grid 2317 B2, people immediately know what to zoom in on. And I'll talk about some other uses. It's also a great system for being able to print the area that you might be interested in. For us in the animal response team, when they say, okay, you're now deployed for a fire, our staging area is grid 2317 B2. You go and print the pages that cover that area before you leave home. It's mainly used in the Sheriff's Department also for mass notifications and evacuations. It's very easy to see what the evacuation area is. It's created and maintained by the County of San Diego. And there are updates about yearly. And if anybody notices when they're looking for something, an error, there's a place you can contact the county and they correct the error right away. So it's there's a lot of user input in this system. And it, as I said, it's used by fire departments and law enforcement agencies now throughout the county. So, and you'll get a copy of this presentation. We'll send it out to everybody. The three applications that you really do need are the first, the online one, the web mapping application that I'll be showing you. It's the best way to learn the system and the best way to play with the system and discover all of the features and any of the difficulties. It's difficult to see on a small phone, much easier to see in a mobile version. So you'll also download the mobile version for your iPad or your cell phone. And this mobile version is for when you have a cell phone connection. So the third thing that I think is an absolute must is to download on your phone the print version. It's a PDF file, and make sure you use Adobe Acrobat to download that. And I have iPhone, so I stick it in my books folder on my iPhone for when you don't have cell connection. Now, what you're going to see, what I'll demonstrate is the searchability of this function if you have a cell phone connection. The print version, you can't search by the common way. But what the print version does have in the very back is a full index of all of the streets and what page number the particular street you're looking for, page numbers it's on. That one takes a little getting used to quickly be able to thumb through. So I urge you to download the print version and then play with that so that you're handy with it, because it is an important thing to have. I find now that I use this resource much more than Google Maps if I'm out somewhere, particularly in the backcountry and particularly hiking or something like that. It has lots of functions that Google Maps doesn't have. So what is the grid map system? Well, it divides the whole county up into grids. And this is an example you see on the left on the insert there. There's that county map with all of the different pages, page numbers, and within the page numbers, there's several grids on each page. We'll be going through that. But when you get down to one grid, this is a picture of 1723. And if you notice, it's divided, we'll see this better, into 8 sections. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sections. Within the section is a subgrid number. So each of these big grids is divided into 8 subgrids, and they're A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, D1, D2. And these are referred to with the grid number such as 1723 D2, which means grid 1723, subgrid D2. So here's an example. So this was the 1723 grid I just showed you. A1, A2, B1, B2, etc. C1, D1. So that's the basis. And for like ACS, all of us are asked to have the grid number of your home and subgrid number readily available. So I think it's a good idea. I put it in my contacts on my iPhone under my name and address. I put my grid and subgrid number. Now, the only different from this system, though the law enforcement is what you just saw. The fire departments somehow they can't deal with 8, so they can only deal with 4. So or 2, I guess it is actually, they've got each grid divided into only A and C, and I'll show you that. So here's the fire department, and Jeff is trying as mightily to get them to change to the 8 grid system. Here's, you can see these 8 grids that law enforcement use. Fire just uses A and C. So if fire, it tells you grid 1723A, it could be A1, A2, B1, or B2. So that's just a little thing that, particularly if you're responding in a wildfire, if you get a grid number from the fire department, it is a much bigger area than you see with law enforcement. Okay, so Jeff put together a number of problems to solve. I'm not going to go through all of them, but what these do is they illustrate many of the functions, the important functions of this grid system and how to use it. So I'm going to go there. Let me get rid of this. Oh, that's my husband and my cat taking a drink out of Ed's gin and tonic just as I snapped the picture. It was a good cat. Let me see here. Got it. Okay. So when you open the program on your computer or mobile phone, it'll look like this. Again, to learn how to use this and to practice all of the functions, it is kind of hard to do on a little cell phone. It is much easier to do it on a computer. So I encourage you to do that. So in this screen, it shows you many of the functions. First of all, here's the search box to search any address or a place like Santee Library, which is one of the questions. This hones in, gives you, more detailed, less detailed. Home gets you to a home screen, so you can always return to the same place. This is location, gives you, if you tap this, it goes to the location you're at. Important down here, as you change your cursor, this is your longitude and latitude. It's in degrees. You can't change it to decimals. It is going to be printed out in degrees and minutes. But any place that you go to is going to give you your longitude and latitude, which is very helpful. This box is the layer list, city boundaries, public safety map book. Those two are important. Fire responsibility areas for certain people it is, but it to me clutters up your screen way too much. But I would encourage you to use city boundaries and public safety map book. Next function is measurement. We're going to go through that a little later, but it allows you to map an area. It allows you to give a distance, or it allows you to give a particular location, longitude, latitude. The next function is a share, so that you can share, if you've got a map location you're at, you can share it with somebody else. This is a handy one, it's draw. So you can draw on a map and have that map, printed out if you like, as a PDF, whatever, or show somebody and send them the link where you've, circled something or given an area. And you can also then clear that drawn area. And then finally, this is an important function. It gives you the different map labels you can use or types of maps. I find that to just generally use streets. Then when you need to see an address or a name of a building, you can go over to OpenStreetMap. And if you want to see the imagery itself, see the building, see the road, then you can go up here. But play with these different maps. But those are the three that I find that I use all the time. Okay, so then here's the first map we see. If we hit home, we go down to this level. It's still showing most of the county, but nothing in these grids. If we go down to the next level, what you see pop up are page numbers. And if I'm going to look down here, let's look down and use where Rob does his Monday or Sunday morning HF net down somewhere in Alpine here. So if we see it, that area is page 202 on the county map. So if I just choose Alpine here, boop. Now, if I click on it, it says public safety map page 202. I can get a PDF file. If I hit PDF file like this, just click on it once, there's the PDF file right there. So page 202 looks just like this. It's got grids 3145, 46, 3045, 46, 29. So it's got what, 2, 4, 6, 8 parts of 8 grids, or all of 8 grids on it. It says it's page 202. If you want to see what's down here, south of there, it's page 171. Here's a QR code. So very handy to be able, and then you can just print this out if you are being deployed to a place like that. The other thing, so that's a PDF file, or you can get a QR code. You can also, what you might well want to do is, well, we'll just, so there's the Alpine area. Now, if I zoom in a little bit more on 202, bring it down here to the middle. Still map page. I'm going to zoom down a little bit more. Boom. All of a sudden it converts to the grid numbers. So let's pick the Alpine name here. Let's something over in here. I click on it. It's public safety grid 2845. I can get a PDF if I want, but most importantly, I click here, and let's see, let me do this a little bit more. PDF, whatever, okay. You can see that you can keep going further in. So it's still 2845 that we're in. And now the going down, you get, let's say we're in 2845B2, maybe it's this area here. And you can, you know, course in and out as much as you want to see it. So that's the general function. And if we go back up, you can see where Alpine is, and we keep going up. It goes to the grid. We see the grid numbers, then we see the pages, page numbers. Okay, so why don't we do a couple of the examples on the worksheet that I passed out. The first one, it says, what grid and subgrid is the address 100 Civic Center Way located in? So I'm going to go to the home view, type in 100 Civic Center Way. Okay, so we have a choice: Calabasas, California, West Palm Beach, Florida. I don't think so. So even if you don't have the city, El Cajon is where we want to go. Boom, there's the, you can see El Cajon Public Safety Center. This is Jeff. So if we look down on these three little dots, the very first thing when I'm trying to find somewhere and keep it is to tap here and add a marker. Then you've got your place nailed. Then you can tap on it again, and it says, oh, here's the longitude and latitude. Here's the URL for it. If I hit this button here, it says Public Safety Grid 2534. You can get a PDF of it. And if I hit it one more time, 2534 Grid B2, and get a PDF of that. We can also just zoom out and see. It's clear that the marker is at 2534 B2, and it's right on the line. And here's something interesting if you're finding a building or something and trying to tell somebody, if the front door to the El Cajon Public Safety Center, Police Department, is actually in 2434 B1. So again, it's important to make sure you mark the area you really want and go down or zoom in on that area. Okay, let's do one that illustrates something else. And if anybody has any questions, just type them in for Dave and he can stop me. Okay, here's one. Question number 4. 1216 Emerald Heights Road. And it's El Cajon, boop. So what grid is that located in? So very first thing I always do is add a marker. It's going to tell me we're in grid 2234A1. That's easy enough. The next question, question number 5, is what jurisdiction is the address 1216 Emerald Heights Road, El Cajon located in? And this is very important for things like Animal Services versus Humane Society, who has the jurisdiction over what area, and also for the police. So if we go zoom out, you can see those borders in there. Here's El Cajon. Well, it isn't in El Cajon, it's inside this border here. And for most of you who are more familiar than I am with in unincorporated areas, what this turns out to be is it's in this little thing. All of this is unincorporated area, so it's county jurisdiction. And that's why when you look under the layers here, where the city boundaries, that line, if I take that off, those go away. Okay, here's one. So it says Question number 6. What unique feature at the center of a circle is located in RPSG grid 2919D2? Well, one, I think, fault of this system is you can't type in the grid number or the page number and have it go to it. So you got to go find the grid number. Well, if we zoom out, you can see that grid numbers start southwest is the lowest number and northeast is the highest number. So we need to go all the way to 2919. So I'm going to scroll up here a ways. I need grid numbers. 2919. 3000. 2919 is right there. I'm going to bring it over in the center. Scroll in. So what round thing is in 2919 D2? Here's C2, 2919 D2. We're going to go in further. As it says, Easter Cross, and this is the Mount Soledad cross. And then if you take your layered function and go to that, you see the Mount Soledad cross with the cars parked around it. So it's very handy to go back and forth for some features using these different layers. And then I'll go back to streets. Okay. Another thing is, let's look at question number 8, which I think is helpful. It says, what page number where the Chula Vista Police Department is located? So what we do is just type in Chula Vista Police Department. Boop. Good. Gonna put a marker on that. And when we look at the marker, we can easily go here, either look at that. It's grid number 1028, and it's grid number A2. I guess you have to look for the, there's the marker. We'll zoom out. And you can see our marker is at page 41 in the grid book. So that's how you answer that. Okay, and the last function I want to demonstrate is how you measure things. So question number 9 is, what is the approximate distance as the crow flies in miles between the center of the city of El Cajon and National City? So if I look down here, find National City. There's National City. There's El Cajon. So what we'll do is we're going to go to measurement. We want a straight line distance. We want it in miles, which we have here. And so we can go from National City, put it right on, boop, to El Cajon. You see it, oops, you click twice to stop it. Well, as you see, it says 12.9 miles. So this is a very handy way to be able to do measurements in miles or feet. We'll clear that. And the last question I'll do is, what, if you want to get even smaller, this is actually very helpful. What's the approximate distance in feet between the center of building 5580 Overland and 5560 Overland? That's the county EOC. So what we do is put a building number, 5580 Overland Avenue, San Diego. Add a marker. That's not really in the building. I think this might be the building. And then we'll go to 5560 Overland. We'll put a marker there. And then we'll go to our measurement device. We'll change to feet. And somebody else can explain exactly to me the difference between feet and US feet, but it's supposed to be 10% or so. We'll go with US feet. And I think it's actually this building here. I'm not sure, but we'll go from here to there. And it's 578 feet between the two. So those are the functions of the grid map book system. Let me see, I'll stop sharing here, there. And so that worksheet just gives you, it allows you to use all of the different functions, but I still keep finding different functions. And when you do it on your phone, it'll take a little fiddling to be able to see the distance and to see longitude, latitude, and all. But it is a good thing to practice when you're out driving around. Any questions? Any
There is
questions?
one hand up from Curtis, K6IBP.
Yes. Where is the presentation going to be sent out to?
Let Dave or Rob answer that. I'll send it to you guys. Well,
we'll post the whole video here after the meeting, which will have all the information in it. Or you can send the slides to either Rob or I, and we can post it on the Google group.
Yeah, I'll send the slides because it's useful, particularly that slide that has the 3 versions that you really need:
right.
The web version, the mobile version, and the PDF version.
Right, right. Steve?
And I encourage you to practice with the PDF non-cellular connection version because you go to the very end to the index, and it's by cities versus and county. So you have to do a little looking to find that, and then to get to the page you really want. So it does take a little practice.
Right, Steve? K6SRS?
Yes, in rural areas without roads, can you search for a location with latitude and longitude?
Yes, I think you can. You know, I haven't done that, but I'm pretty sure you can. And the format to put in, you have to play with that. I'm guessing it's the same format that you see at the bottom or that you see when it's giving, when you mark a location. But I'm pretty sure you can, yeah, I'm certain you can search with longitude and latitude. I just need to do that. Thanks for asking that. Other questions?
Yeah, I've got a question. Judith, when you're looking around the county, I'm looking at my own neighborhood, I can see the various buildings for the houses around me. Is there a way to, like when I click on it, I get the public safety grid, and then I can get some more information, but it doesn't give me an address. Is there a way to find an address?
What it'll do, if you type the address in like we did on the search, it'll go to that spot. But if you want to just look at different addresses, if you go to the Open Streets view, it'll give you at least the block numbers, you know, the 1600 block or whatever. Somebody asked me, one of the animal services officers asked me, can you find mile markers out in East County? And you can't. But if you try that, play with that Open Street view, which is just to the left of Street View, and zoom down on that, and I think you find that they give you at least the block numbers.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
All right, for those who can't find it, if you click on the participants list and bring it up on the side, at the bottom is raise hand. So that should help you a little bit. Mike, go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. I got a couple of questions, so I'll just rattle them all off at once. why, this is a political question, I guess, why does fire department, law enforcement use different maps, and why did they reinvent the wheel and not use something that's already in place like the Maidenhead system? Secondly, the jurisdiction.
Let's do one at a time because I'll never remember them. So you have to remember them. So why do fire department and law enforcement use different systems? God knows. Jeff's trying to change that because it seems to me more information is never bad. And I mean, you look at the size of these subgrids, it's pretty big to begin with, but whatever. So they're trying to get everybody to use the same system.
The Maidenhead
Yeah.
system was already in place, and why are they reinventing the system?
Yeah,
Did they just not know about it?
I don't know. This isn't just a homegrown San Diego system. So this system, Riverside doesn't use it. Other people, I think Orange County does. They were saying, so it's I think at least a state, if not a national system. I don't know the basis of it because I don't. I don't know what the base of it is. We'd have to ask. Does somebody know that? Anybody ever asked Jeff that question?
I think we sort of asked and nobody really had an answer.
Okay, that's a good answer. So second question.
The jurisdictions are pretty hard to find on there. Is there an easy way to do that, or you just have to search for a city name that you recognize as a city name and you have to know the area pretty well?
So if you look, it's got that jurisdictional lines. You can see those and follow them around. I find that, for La Mesa, and you have to have some knowledge to know that, La Jolla is not a city unto itself. It's San Diego. So that is one part of it. The jurisdictions for the people who need those, like Humane Society versus County Animal, they pretty much know the generalities, but this system they were raving about. It was really great. And same for fire jurisdictions, because 5 miles one way, 5 miles another, sometimes or a mile, you just need to know whose jurisdiction it's in. But there isn't any easy way to, if you just type in El Cajon, I think you should try that. I think it just takes you to maybe the center of El Cajon.
Yeah, it does. Okay. The last thing was a couple, I don't know if you have anything to do with this, but a couple of things that really should be searchable and usable on there is you should be able to search by the grid number. So if somebody gives you a grid number, you don't have to go and scan the whole map to find it. And the second thing is that the measurement is very nice, but it'd be nice to have a bearing from there. So you could say, 47 degrees, 200 feet, 47 degrees from some point.
Yeah, I think everyone realizes the non-searchability of page or grid numbers is a downside. And on the thing that I'm sending you, I think in one of those there is a document that talks about, and maybe it's in the map system itself, page by page, that talks about the who in the city of San Diego to contact that is in charge of this whole map system. Like ACS, a couple of people have already found errors in streets or new streets or something like that, and sending any suggestions to them. It seems to me that searching a map grid or a page should be pretty easy to program in, but it's not there. And Jeff pointed that out as well. And he probably has more access to changing things than anybody, and it hasn't changed yet. But this is relatively new. Maybe 2 years or so that people have used it in law enforcement.
I think it's about right.
But boy, it's sure a big advantage over Thomas Guide, and that's essentially what it's replacing, because that's what everybody used to use. Thomas Guide and put something over it you could draw on. That never did work real well.
Yeah, Bruce, AI6KL.
Yeah, there is a way to find a page or grid number if you want. I could show you, or I could just send some instructions.
Tell us and send some instructions. That'd be great.
Let me share my screen and I'll show you here. Oh, got to enable sharing again, Dave.
All right.
This will be good. I would love to be able to tell Jeff that there's actually a way to do this.
Because he didn't know.
No, he's frequently
So it depends
pointed
on
out
what
it's a-
level of the map you are at. So if you are at the page level, then you can search by page. If you're at the grid level, you can search by grid. Okay, here we go. Let's see. All right, you should be able to see my map, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just go to the grid level because that's a little bit easier scroll in. So it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you have a grid map or grid up, you can then click on a particular grid, doesn't matter, and then click the menu button, view an attribute table. And what you want to do is click options, filter, add expression, and now you have access to what you want to search by. And one of the options at this level is grid number. You type in 2919, for example, hit OK, do the filter, and there's your grid. And then you can download the PDF or whatever you needed to do. You can
That is
also
cool.
do that at
Very good.
the level above. Like if you come back up one level to page number, you click on a particular page, view in the attribute table, and now you notice that the filter has page number instead of grid, and you can search by page number.
Very good.
That's neat.
Thank you.
My record of 100% of the time learning something new every time I talk about this has been kept up.
That's right.
And I wondered what, I never got around to ever clicking on attribute table, but that's great. I will explore that further. Thank you very much. Other questions? Okay. And if anybody, I'm going to type in my email address under chat. And if anybody has any questions afterwards or needs any help with anything, just please contact me. Okay.
And Dave, you might have noticed that Greg in Sacramento Valley was playing with search features, different coordinate systems, and in chat he put us some information.
I was just going to mention that. Thanks, Greg. It will accept latitude and longitude in decimal form, also in MGRS, and it's also searchable with degrees, minutes, and seconds. So it looks
that's
like
very
it'll take
helpful.
everything.
So just with a comma, it looks like for decimals,
Yeah.
and no comma for degrees and minutes.
Right.
Thank you. They learned two things. To copy that.
We'll try and post the chat out as well as a video this time. That way, the information will be available on the Google Drive or on the docs. All right. Anybody have anything else this morning?
Actually, I do, if nobody else does.
Go ahead.
Hey, I've forgotten to bring this up, and obviously there's tons of distractions out there that keep everybody from thinking about everything in the moment when they should. I've got a pair of Yaesu FT8900s. So I was going to ask if anybody else out there has an 8800 or an 8900 and they've noticed that their microphone cords have completely disintegrated or they're on their way to doing so. If there's interest, I'm going to try to go out and do a bulk buy. I know that at least at one point there were replacement cables that were available, so you didn't have to buy the whole microphone. You could just buy the cable, and to swap the cable X, it plugs into a header on a PC board inside the mic shell. I literally have a brand new microphone in the bag that I've never used. Took it out of the bag, took it out of the box. It's probably 6 or 7 years old. To put a new mic on my radio that has a completely disintegrating plastic shell around the cable, and found out that the one that's in the box, one that's in the bag, it's never been used, it's doing exactly the same thing. So my suspicion is that that's probably not an uncommon issue. And it's interesting that those are the only microphone cords out of all of my radios that have this issue. And I've got other ones that are 15 and 20 years old that don't have anything like this going on. If there's any interest, let me know. I'm probably going to go out and buy at least a half a dozen. I remember back in days gone by that they were available, never understood why, except that maybe people had broken or cut cords. But now that I'm seeing that I've got multiples, and in fact, the one radio that we got from Art's estate, he had the same exact issue. He had a cable that was on the radio in the car, and it was coming apart. And I went, that's interesting. And he also had another microphone that was also relatively new, and it's coming apart. So gonna order cables. If anybody needs anything, email me or relay a message, and I'll add you to my list when I do some research and figure out what pricing is going to be.
I've replaced several of mine as well. So did one here about 6 months ago.
And apparently you can help me with a source if that's the case.
All right.
All right. I don't have anything else. Thanks, everybody. We've got a couple of things coming up in the near future. We're going to talk about a little bit more in depth before we get there. A lot of folks here probably know Jim Brower. He's going to be conducting an exercise for us probably in the near future. Don't know exactly when. Might actually coincide with a closer time frame than where we would have normally have had the hospital drill, but that's to be determined. Rob, Dave, and I need to go out and work with them a little bit about some of the information and details on that, but it's looking very promising from a proposal perspective and from an initial constructor perspective. So we've got some tabletop type exercises we'll be doing, and of course we've got all of the great ideas that everybody brought up last meeting that I was really impressed with. I really do like the community parks on the air. Completely candidly and honestly, I can see that getting some really good ARRL press. Parks on the air in general has been very successful, as you know, but taking that a level down and doing practical exercise or doing practical, maybe reoccurring exercises where it's community parks on the air for ARES, I can actually see quite a bit of benefit from. So that was brilliant thinking, however that came up.
All right, John, CPO.
Yeah, I've purchased those replacement microphone cables for Yaesu from Amazon.
All right, so there's one source. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group this morning? Very quiet. Well, if nobody has anything, we'll look forward to talking to everybody Thursday evening on the net, and next Saturday on the Community Parks on the Air. And we got somebody just popped up in chat from Heidi. Thank you. Okay, thank you from everybody. Thank you, Judy. Great presentation. And I think we all learned something, even those of us that have used the program before. So that's always good. Thanks, everybody. And we will see everybody soon.